Lily entered the scene with a natural grace that didn't demand attention, yet somehow, she stood out more than anyone else in the room. She wasn't overly cheerful, nor was she trying to charm her way into a bigger tip. She simply carried herself with a quiet warmth, the kind that instantly makes you feel at ease. When she approached Charles, her smile wasn't practiced or forced, it felt real, gentle, and honest. She took his order with the kind of sincerity that can't be faked, checking on him just enough to show she cared, but never in a way that made it seem like she was performing. To her, he wasn't a billionaire or a VIP guest, he was just another human being deserving of respect. As Charles observed her from his table, he noticed something rare in her demeanor. She treated every customer with the same kindness, whether they looked wealthy or ordinary. There was no judgment in her eyes, no attempt to impress, no hidden agenda. Her kindness wasn't selective, it was a part of who she was. And without even knowing it, Lily was already challenging everything Charles believed about people and their intentions. She was about to reshape his understanding of genuine humanity. Charles, despite all his wealth and power, lived with a kind of quiet loneliness that even he struggled to understand. People saw the billionaire, the successful businessman, the man who had everything. But what they didn't see was the emptiness behind the polished exterior, the constant doubt about who genuinely cared for him and who simply cared about what he could offer. Over the years, he had learned to read faces, to sense intentions, and to protect himself from the disappointment that came when someone's true motives surfaced. It left him guarded, tired, and unsure of where real kindness even existed anymore. That night, as he walked into the restaurant, he carried all of that with him. He wasn't looking for conversation or admiration. He wasn't even looking for exceptional service. Deep down, he was searching for something far more meaningful, a reason to believe that sincerity still existed. And so he made a quiet decision. He would test the person serving him, not to expose them, but to find a moment of truth in a world that often felt artificial. He wanted to see if kindness could still come from a place untouched by money or status. This simple intention would soon lead him to an answer he never expected. In a world driven by speed, success, and competition, it's easy to forget how powerful a single small action can be. That's why this story begins with something incredibly simple, a $5 tip. At first glance, it seems almost meaningless, especially in a high-end restaurant where wealthy people barely notice such an amount. But what makes this moment extraordinary is not the money itself, it's the unexpected impact it creates. This tiny gesture becomes the spark for a life-changing realization, one that even a billionaire never saw coming. It reminds us that sometimes the biggest transformations don't start with grand acts, huge donations, or dramatic sacrifices. They begin quietly, almost invisibly, when someone chooses kindness without expecting anything in return. And that's exactly what sets the tone for this entire journey. This small tip, placed casually on a table, carries a lesson far greater than its value. It becomes a mirror that reveals true character, and a doorway that leads to an emotional awakening. What follows is not just a story about money, it's a story about humanity. And from this single moment, everything else begins to unfold in ways no one could have predicted. This is where the change truly begins. Lily never learned what her words truly sparked, and that's the quiet beauty of this story. She went on with her life exactly the way she always had, serving customers with respect, offering a warm smile, and treating people with the kind of sincerity that can't be taught. She didn't know that a billionaire walked out of that restaurant a changed man because of her. She didn't know her simple truth had shaken someone who had spent a lifetime surrounded by wealth but rarely touched by genuine kindness. And maybe that's the point. Kindness doesn't need recognition to be powerful. It doesn't need applause, or credit, or an audience. Real kindness is expressed in the small, everyday choices we make, how we speak to someone, how we make them feel, how we show them they matter. Those little moments ripple outward in ways we may never see, touching lives far beyond our own. Lily's words didn't just change one man, they reshaped everything he chose to do afterward, spreading goodness into countless corners of the world. And she did it without even knowing. That's the quiet, unstoppable force of a simple act of kindness. Charles walked out of the restaurant that night carrying more than just the memory of a good meal. He carried a sense of clarity he hadn't felt in years. Lily's simple words echoed in his mind long after he stepped onto the quiet New York street. For the first time, he realized how far he had drifted from the things that truly mattered. It wasn't wealth that shaped a meaningful life, it was the intention behind how you used it. The next morning, with that thought still weighing on him, he called his lawyer and asked for an immediate meeting. No delays, no excuses. When they sat down, Charles didn't talk about business, mergers, or investments. Instead, he talked about kindness, purpose, and legacy. He asked to rewrite his will, not to leave behind bigger bank accounts, but to support people who made the world kinder. Scholarships for young people who showed compassion. Funding for charities that lifted those who couldn't help themselves. Investments in communities that needed hope more than anything, but he didn't stop at giving money. He began giving his time, mentoring young entrepreneurs, guiding them not just on how to earn, but on how to live with integrity. All because one ordinary moment with one ordinary waitress reminded him of the extraordinary power of kindness. When the meal came to an end, Charles quietly placed a $5 bill on the table. It wasn't meant to be generous, it wasn't meant to impress. It was simply a test, one last effort to understand whether genuine gratitude still existed in a world where money seemed to control everything. He leaned back slightly, watching from the corner of his eye as Lily approached the table. Most people, he thought, would either hide their disappointment or let their frustration slip through. But Lily didn't do either. The moment she saw the tip, her expression softened into a sincere smile, not exaggerated, not restrained, just real. She looked at Charles with warmth and said thank you in a voice filled with genuine appreciation, but then came the moment that shifted everything inside him. She added, almost gently, the real reward isn't the amount, it's how you treat people. That simple line cut deeper than she could ever imagine. It wasn't criticism, it was truth, delivered with kindness. And for a man who had lived surrounded by wealth, yet starved of sincerity, her words felt like a mirror reflecting what he had been missing all along. In that instant, the test he created ended up revealing something far more powerful to him than to her.